Today I am going to show you how to put together a home studio all for under $1,250. What is up, people of the interwebs? It is currently the holiday season of 2019. That means that it is the time of year that guitar players and musicians like us start thinking about everything that we want to buy after the holiday season because we likely didn't get it for the holiday season from our loved ones. One question that I have gotten recently from a number of viewers is, what do you need? And I guess couple of questions, what do you need and what are the costs involved? A number of people said they're saving up and they want to make their purchases coming up here in the very near future. So I decided that I would share with you the components for a home studio that I recommend, that I think, number one, would be not only cost effective, but more importantly are also components that either I myself have used or would also buy for myself. In this list, I did not want to include anything at all that was just the most inexpensive option out there. I wanted it to be something that I would indeed spend my own money on and that I would actually use. So, let's get started, shall we? Number one is the computer. Of course, without this, it is kind of difficult to build a modern-day home recording studio. You have to have a computer to operate everything out of. The computer, of course, is the most expensive part of the equation. A lot of you may already have a computer of your own at home that will more than suffice. If that is the case, feel free to knock the total down by several $100s. The things that I do recommend, and I'm talking about going the PC route here, which is what I have done. The things that I would recommend as far as specs go would be something with an Intel, at least an Intel Core i7 processor in it, and probably a minimum of 16 gigabytes of RAM. That will allow the computer to be able to run efficiently because most likely the DAW that you are going to install, we'll get to that here in a minute, is going to take up quite a bit of CPU usage, so you want to make sure and have a high-powered computer that can handle everything. Computers, as I mentioned, are expensive. However, they may not be quite as expensive as you think. I bought this computer here at the first part of 2019, basically brand new, and I found that there is great value in buying a refurbished computer from Amazon, and it was a great way to get all of the specs that I wanted and save a lot of money. I got the computer itself with the specs that I just mentioned, plus a solid-state hard drive on the inside of it, for about $400, and the monitor itself, which I also found refurbished. This is a 25-inch high-definition 1080p monitor, I believe, and I found this in refurbished condition for about $100. I've been using them just about every day for almost a year now and have had no issues whatsoever. Refurbished electronics a lot of times are a great way to go to save money. The reason being is because somebody has already gone through it with a fine-tooth comb and to make sure that everything is running efficiently the way that it should. Again, I will repeat, I saved a lot of money by doing this, and I have had zero issues whatsoever. So now that we've got the brains of the situation ironed out, the next thing that we are going to need is going to be a USB recording interface. For this, I recommend the unit that I use, which is the Focusrite Scarlett Series 2i2. For guitar players, this is a perfect interface, particularly if you were just getting started. The second generation of the 2i2 was the best-selling interface on the market. They just recently discontinued it because the third generation just replaced it. I fully expect in the next year or so that the third gen of the 2i2 to once again take over as the best-selling USB recording interface on the market. It's a great device. It's USB powered. You just plug it into the computer and it just works. Plug and play and off you go. It's got great quality mic pre's on it, so your recordings come out nice and clear the way that you want them. There is a smaller version of the Scarlett interface out there called the Solo. I recommend you still go with the 2i2. It's only $160. And if you are in a situation, particularly for guitar players, where you are trying to record something in stereo, i.e., stereo outputs, and you're trying to record on 2 different tracks. Say, for example, you're trying to record out from a stereo reverb pedal, which I have actually done. You want both of those inputs on the interface to be a combo 1/4-inch XLR input. That way you can make sure and get an even signal on both tracks. Again, $160, great place to start. Next, you are going to need a pair of studio monitors. Here behind me, you see a pair of Kali Audio LP6s. These particular studio monitors cost, I believe, $149 a piece, so so about $300 for the pair. If you're willing to spend that much on studio monitors, I highly recommend that you do, because they produce a lot of clarity. They got a lot of options on the back for various different studio situations to how you may have them set up. They're just all around great monitors. The guys at Kali Audio won't come out and admit it, but I'm pretty sure they're a bunch of former JBL employees that all left JBL and started their own company, and the products that they have produced so far are fantastic. That said, if you're not willing to spend $300 on a pair of studio monitors, I recommend you go with the PreSonus Aris E3.5. You can buy the pair of them for about $100, and they will just plug right into the back of your computer, and they're very easy to set up, and they're a little bit more of a bang for your buck than some of the other studio monitor pairs in that price range that are out there. However, I have also used the Alesis Elevate monitors before. Some of the M-Audio monitors and the Mackie monitors in that price range are also popular. I happen to like the PreSonus Aris of that class the best. Once you buy a pair of studio monitors, I strongly recommend that you get a pair of monitor isolation pads to set them on. The ones I am using here are from Ultimate Acoustics, called the Pad Isolators. And they're very handy because you can set them up to angle the monitors up or down, depending on where you have them set. Obviously, I have them pointing down, so that when I'm sitting at my desk mixing, they are pointing at directly at one at each ear, which is what you want. Monitor isolation pads can vary in price. However, the Ultimate Acoustic ISO pads are a fantastic value. They work great, and they cost about $45 a pair on Amazon. But stay tuned till the end of this video, and I am going to tell you how you can get a pair of those for free. Next on the list, you may want to consider having a condenser microphone of some kind. There are lots of great condenser microphones for very affordable prices, particularly around the $100 range. I use an Audio-Technica AT2020 pretty often. Sterling Audio has some good quality condenser microphones on the $100 price range. And there's also the ever-popular MXL 990. This is a limited edition that they did last year in a color that they call Midnight, but the standard champagne version also costs $100, and the champagne version will actually also come with the case and the shock mount with it. So that's probably going to be a little bit better value. These are mass-produced, but they're very well made. It's good and heavy. It's a great sounding mic. Can serve a lot of purposes, be it for vocals, a room mic for a guitar cabinet, whatever it may be. Speaking of microphones, if you're a guitar player, chances are you're probably going to need a guitar mic as well, if not a couple. No need to mess around here. Stick to the industry standard Shure SM57. It's been heard on thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of recordings at this point. I use one all the time. I often use it in conjunction with other microphones because it's a very versatile and very popular microphone for a guitar cabinet. And the best part, it's very affordable, right at about $100. If you want something with a little bit more variety, or you want to add a second microphone, you might want to consider the Sennheiser E609 for $10 more. When I'm recording guitar cabs, I oftentimes use an SM57 and a Sennheiser E609, one on each speaker, and then I can blend them to taste and get some different sounds out of it. Microphones, however, tend to be pretty useless if we don't have microphone cables. Of course, we know microphone or XLR cables can get pretty pricey, particularly if you get up into the stuff like the Mogami Gold series, and it's not hard to spend a lot of money on good quality cables. However, it's also not hard to get some good quality cables for a very good price. I have used the GLS cables that you can find on Amazon many times. I still own a few of them. They've held up great. They produce great sound, and you can buy them very inexpensively. For a 12-foot cable on Amazon costs you about $10, or for a few extras, you can even get a 5-pack of 25-foot cables for around $50. Choose whatever is best for you. All recording setups are different, and unfortunately, I have no way of knowing how long your cable runs are going to need to be. But for good, solid, inexpensive cables, I recommend checking out the GLS cables. Now, unfortunately, microphones do not hold themselves up in front of speakers or in front of people singing into them. You're going to need a mic stand of some kind. Good, sturdy mic stand. Get this on-stage boom microphone stand off of Amazon for about $30. You can use it for a lot of different things. You can stand it upright, just as you normally would, in order to, if you're going to use it for a vocal mic. It has the ability to swivel down a little bit more. Say, for example, if you want to mic an acoustic, or almost all the way down to the ground if you want to use it to mic a guitar cabinet. A speaker that may be sitting down close to the ground as well. Very versatile. One microphone stand is more than enough, and you don't want to take up any more floor space than that if you don't have it. Software. This is where it gets interesting. You may have the computer, but just because you have the computer doesn't mean that you necessarily have the right software loaded onto it yet. If you decided that you did want to go the Mac route or go the Apple route, then chances are, if you got a MacBook or something like that, it probably came with a copy of GarageBand for free. In which case, GarageBand is a great little recording tool and a great DAW to use, particularly for getting started. It has lots of virtual instruments and stuff like that in it that are also very handy. However, GarageBand is an Apple product, so if you went the PC route like I did, you likely don't have access to GarageBand, and certainly not for free, unless you download it from some weird website that you never heard of, and I certainly don't recommend you do that. So you're probably going to need to spend the money on an actual DAW. I generally use Pro Tools for most of my recordings. However, I do also use Persona Studio One from time to time, which is actually what I am recording this dialogue into right now. I thought I would have it up on the screen here behind me just so that you can get an idea of what it looks like. Persona Studio One is known to be a little bit more intuitive and easier to learn to use. Opinions are going to vary on that, but that is seems to be the general consensus. Very powerful, very great DAW. Comes with a lot of great virtual instruments, and will do certainly everything that you need it to do. That program for the full version is about $400. You can also buy the rather than the Pro version, you can buy a smaller version of it for, I believe, in the around the $150 range. Both of those right now, I think, are actually on sale this holiday season on various retailer websites. Now, if you don't want to spend $400 on a DAW or $150 on a DAW, then I strongly recommend that you have a look at Reaper. Reaper can be downloaded for free. It's a full version professional DAW. Will do really just about anything that all of the other larger DAWs will do. And the other good thing about it is it doesn't eat up nearly as much CPU usage or memory on your computer. It doesn't look quite as fancy. It looks like it's a little bit dated, but it more than gets the job done. There are plenty of videos out there about how to use it and how to get started with it. Next, you're going to want to consider some virtual amplifiers, virtual amplifier software, that is, and there are tons and tons of that stuff on the market. I generally use Amplitube Max from IK Multimedia. However, I am not going to recommend that program, at least the full version of it, because it's a $500 piece of software. That said, you can get a smaller version of it, Amplitube 4, I believe, for about the $150 range, or you can go to IK Multimedia's website and download the free version called Amplitube Custom Shop. The Custom Shop version does not have any of the licensed amplifiers in it, for like Fender and Mesa Boogie and some of the other Orange amps, some of the other brands out there that they actually do have the licensing for. Most virtual amplifiers do not have that like IK Multimedia does. However, the Custom Shop does have plenty of IK Multimedia's stock amplifiers, and a lot of them actually sound really good. There is all kinds of free virtual amps out there. I read an article prior to shooting this video. I think it was in a website called Gear News or something like that. I'll post a link to that article down below. There's that article will point out lots of different places where you can go to find virtual amps. The reason why you are probably going to want to have some of those around, or at least some virtual impulse responses or cab simulators, is, for example, if you were deciding that you want to record with a pedal straight into your interface, you're going to need an amplifier, a speaker sim EQ on the back end of that in order for it to sound like a real amplifier. One piece of software that I have not figured out how to get a hold of for free, unfortunately, is Virtual Drums. I always use Superior Drummer 3 from TuneTrack. That one is also fairly pricey. The core program alone generally runs about $400. And it's pretty robust, and honestly probably a little bit overkill if you are just getting started and in building your home studio. They do make a smaller and actually much easier to use version called Easy Drummer that only costs about $150. Easy Drummer is fantastic. As I mentioned, it's definitely easier to use, and there's not a whole lot of mixing involved at all with the final product. Maybe a little bit, but generally not much. And TuneTrack have been good enough to come out with all different kinds of expansion packs for it. So if there's something in it that that you're looking for specifically that the core program doesn't have, for a nominal fee, you can add on the expansion, whatever expansion pack you're looking at, and probably find exactly what you're looking for. The last thing that you are probably going to need is a good solid pair of studio headphones. My first choice for studio headphones is always going to be something beyerdynamic. I love beyerdynamic headphones. They're extremely comfortable to wear. I can wear them for hours and remain comfortable. And I really, really like the sound of them and the overall quality. However, they are a little pricey. They start around between $150 to $200, depending on where you go. I was very fortunate that my beautiful wife was thoughtful enough to get me a pair for Christmas this time last year. And I use them all the time. However, if you're not up for spending upwards of $200 on a good pair of studio headphones, you don't really have to. I recommend for about the $50 range, you check out the Audio-Technica AT-M20X headphones. I don't know why that model number has got to be like that long, but it is. The M20s are, as I mentioned, only about $50, and they are really designed to be a more affordable version of the extremely popular AT M50Xs that have been on the market forever. The M50s generally cost about $150. Again, not everybody wants to spend that kind of money on headphones, particularly for studio. So, Audio-Technica thought to come out with the M20s, and they're a fantastic set of headphones. I had a pair for a long time and used them very often. Finally, I just ended up just wearing them out. I don't recommend doing most of your mixing on headphones, but sometimes when you need to keep the volume down, they are a necessity and certainly something that you're probably going to want to have laying around. Finally, if you add all of this stuff and you take out the cost of the DAW and the cost of the virtual amplifiers and some of the other things that I mentioned you can get for free, we're still going to be slightly over budget, over our $1,250 budget. However, here is my solution for that. This pair of Ultimate Acoustics monitor pads that I mentioned, I just happen to have an extra pair on hand that I would love to give to one of you. So, here's how this is going to work. If you would like to receive this pair, click on one of the Amazon links down in the description to buy whichever piece of this gear that you might be interested in, as all those links will be provided down below. From there, once you get to Amazon, I need a screenshot of the web address area so that I can see where my unique affiliate link is embedded in that web address, and also a screenshot of your shopping cart so that I can see what you bought. You don't need to send me any of the personal information or any of that stuff. I'm not interested in that. I'm just interested to see what you bought because I think it's cool when people buy gear. The first one to send me both of those screenshots in an email at robertsguitardungeon@gmail.com will be the lucky recipient of these Ultimate Acoustic Monitor Isolation Pads. If you are even in the continental United States, I will pay to ship them for free. On me. So, how about that? Thank you very much for taking the time to check out this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. I always have fun putting these things together. It's a lot of fun for me. And I have gotten a lot of enjoyment out of recording. I admit I am certainly no diehard studio rat. I'm not a engineer studio guy by any means. Most of it is stuff that I personally use on a at least a weekly basis, and have found a lot of enjoyment in, and has opened up an entirely new world of the music industry that I never even knew existed. And most importantly, it has also pushed me to improve and explore some new areas as a guitar player. And I hope that you find the same enjoyment out of it that I have. So please consider hitting the subscribe button to this channel if you haven't already. Hit the like button, hit the dislike button, whichever one may apply to you the best. Again, as I mentioned, any pertinent links will be down in the description. You can also find links to where you can support this channel down in the description as well. Your support is very, very much appreciated. And last but not least, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. If you have any other great cost-saving studio ideas, I would certainly love to hear them. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon.